don't even know why I'm laughing. I don't even know. Okay. Hi, my needle drops. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. Before we get into a little bit of album review action. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to do that. Someone in the comments told me not to crack my knuckles. That hurts their ears. Anyway, before we get into this, I want to tell you guys that there is a link in the D-Box to where you can see or hear an interview that I did with Keith Kniff, of course, the creator of such projects as Helios and Goldman. There's a new Goldman album out now called Famous Places. Very great, easy, breezy, pretty, light, beautiful piano music. Check it out. Alright, review. You know, most rock bands are really looking for something to rebel against. Some bands rebel against societal norms, some bands rebel against the government. It just sort of seems like refusal to conform is just at the root of rock music in general. And the war front for Tera Melos, albeit a small one, is with time signatures and tempo. Consistency too. I mean, on Last FM, these guys do have math rock as their #1 tag for a reason, even though that is a pretty broad term, considering that these guys, and By the End of Tonight, and Hella, and Battles all fall under that umbrella. And there are a lot of groups that shoot for a similar complexity, but aren't called math rock, like Naked City, or Melt Banana, or Ruins. But when it comes to assembling dizzying guitar riffs and unintelligibly complex rhythms, Tera Melos is doing it with way more ambition on their second LP right here, Patagonian Rats. Each part, each riff on this LP is more confusing than the next. For a lot of people, I could imagine this could be like handing a kid a copy of War and Peace right after he's finished reading Green Eggs and Ham for the first time. In other words, this album really will test your listening level, because if you're not focused, you will miss a lot. This is sobering music. But Tera Melos is a little different than a lot of the bands in the math rock gauntlet in that they always leave room for a hook, something sweet, a moment where everything just mellows out a little bit. Those catchier parts, those sweeter parts are actually like a release of all the tension that builds up with just one angular guitar riff after another doing cartwheels all over the mix. But some tracks get me going on here a little bit, and others don't. For example, the track Skin Surf has some really cheesy guitar riffs in there. And the track Frozen Zoo actually had some moments that sound kind of like they came together through copy, paste, 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 paste. And I'm a little on the fence with the vocals, though I do have to admit they are the sweetest thing the music has going for it. They're doubled up and they have this sort of indie rock aesthetic that makes me cringe at a few points, I guess. Some of my favorite moments on this LP are actually when the band gets quiet. It sounds really eerie to me, especially when it's just guitar and vocals. Very memorable, like on the end of the track End Citrus Heights, or a few moments in one of my favorite parts of the LP, the 9-minute Party with Gina. In general, for Tera Melos right here, there's just a lot of progression, a lot of maturity past their Untitled LP. They've just really shown a lot of progress here. They're really trying new things for them anyway, and this really does feel like a follow-up LP. This is a sophomore album. So, even though I like bands like By the End of Tonight, and I certainly would recommend Hella to anybody, if not only for the experience of hearing that kind of music, I can't really get down with this album all too much. Math rock has never really been my strongest suit. It's not something that I see as unenjoyable, but it's not particularly something that I would spend money on. These guys are selling this thing for $10 on their label's website, and you can actually grab the digital version over at their Bandcamp for just $7, where they're streaming the entire album all the way through. Can't go wrong there. You guys are going to hate me for this score, but, you know, I'm feeling like a strong 5 on this thing. I can't see myself coming back to any of these tracks, though I did enjoy this album for the amount of times that I listened to it all the way through. That score is a sign of indifference. I don't hate this LP. I don't really like it all that much either. But take that with a grain of salt, because it's not reflective of whether or not a Tera Melos fan is going to like this thing. It's reflective of someone who's not really a big fan of this kind of stuff. It's hard-hitting, it's complex, it's upbeat, and it's technical. If that's what you look for in your music, then please seek out Tera Melos sophomore LP, Patagonian Rats, on Sargent House Records, I believe. Anthony Fantano, The Needle Drop, Tera Melos, forever.